Welcome to Manifestation Mondays with Marcy. I'm your host, Marcy Newman, and of course, you also know me as the Heart Shift Coach. And today we'll be talking about something a little bit different in terms of manifestation. And that is, if you tuned into my last video, I started to talk about a major shift in how manifestation will be taking place, and in fact, actually is taking place even as we speak. So I'm wondering, of course, whether or not you've noticed that shift. Because the truth of the matter is that when you have raised your level of consciousness to the degree that you have, which I know you have because you're here and you have been following me, we start to shift from manifesting into more of a godly festing. In other words, we've moved into these higher realms of vibrational frequency that are now accessible to us. And in fact, if you're like many of the people that I've spoken to, you sort of feel like you have one foot in one world and another foot in another world. And you are starting to notice the difference between what you are bringing to life in what we typically call the 3D world, as opposed to this world of higher frequency that we are shifting into. And in fact, indeed do have a foot in it already. And so what I want to talk about today is the fact that in this different, brand new realm where we've never been before, you may find yourself reverting to old patterns and old systems that you have put together based on your own experiences and historical information that you have in terms of what has worked for you and what hasn't. And so what I want to talk to you about is really stepping into this higher level of awareness where you start to discern when you are being called to put different efforts together in order to bring these new manifestations to light. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about, number one, how we know that we are all involved in creating this new earth. And this new earth requires a different kind of foundation. And it's very similar to what I spoke about just a moment ago when I was saying that in order to bring things to life now, you will have to really depend on putting together higher vibrational frequencies to enable you to do that. And so the foundation of this new earth must be built on these higher frequencies. What does that require of you? Well, number one, it requires that you know that you are a creator. You must accept this through and through, that everything that you are experiencing is not outside of you, it's actually coming through you. And then you are experiencing how it has come to life. And so this foundation that we're building, of course, must be built on the collective consciousness. So what that means for each and every one of us is that we must really pay attention to our own vibrational frequency to make certain that we are tuned in to the others in the collective vibration who either are where we are or higher, so that we can be assured that what we are creating now is going to be for the highest good of all, that will have the ability to create this foundation from which this new world will be built. And so it's really a call for each and every one of us to be doubling down, tripling down into our spiritual practice And I've said that before, and I can't emphasize it enough. This is not a time to be lackadaisical about it. This is a time to be so aware of what your thoughts are, because it's an indication of your vibrational frequency and how much of your heart is accessible to you. So one of the things that we know for sure that affects our ability to tap in or tune into these higher frequencies is judgment. And judgment is very insidious. It's so programmed within us that very often we don't even pay attention to when it's in the forefront of our thought process. And we even have gone so far, and I know you have because I have too, to sometimes find some sort of a justification for that judgment, but then we try to sugarcoat it so that it doesn't appear to be judgment. This is when we are really tapped into the ego energy of disguise, and it has us believing that we are somehow rising above that judgment when in fact we're actually getting more connected to it. So that's the first thing I want you to start to pay attention to, because it's the easiest thing for the ego to pull you into, because it is so mundane to you. You won't even realize that you're in the midst of this judgment. So pay attention to how that feels. Pay attention to your justification of your thoughts. Pay attention to what you are trying to sugarcoat or put an icing on it so that it disguises what's beneath it. This is really, really important, because once we are able to do that, we of course can pivot, we can heart shift into that higher vibrational frequency that is necessary for us to continue to build this foundation. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, as I said earlier, this is a call for us to triple down into that daily spiritual practice and take nothing for granted. You and I both are going to be making some difficult decisions as time goes on, as the days unfold. And those decisions will be whether or not to follow the programming of you as a human, or the universal laws of you as a god and goddess, fast at work in this world, creating a new one. And of course, it will be very distinguishable. But I want you to know that responding to the programming of your humanness will be very compelling. Perhaps you've experienced this already. And I want you to know that nothing is written in stone, not even those programs. All it requires is that you be able to rise above it, pivot, and make a different choice. So give yourself the grace that that is going to require. Should you make a choice based on the old programming, rather than beating yourself up, get up, brush yourself off, and say, okay, let me start again. Because Spirit promises us that new life begins every nanosecond we choose it to. And that's the power that we have when we align with that Mother, Father, God within us. So this is really, really important. So that accepting that you are this Creator God is absolutely essential for you to fully embrace all of your abilities, all of the gifts that you have, and you've been, developing your access to them for many years now. And this is our time. This is a time to really align with the truth of spiritual laws, universal laws, which will hold each of us, help to keep us intact, and actually help to keep us aligned, accessing all of those higher vibrations, the higher vibrations of love. So I'm going to leave that with you. We're going to be diving deeper and deeper into this. It's extremely important, again, that you exercise your willingness to simply accept your godliness. We are shifting out of the humanness, the ego-driven, energetic lifestyle, into the incorporation of spiritual and universal law on a much higher scale, much higher level. So we're preparing, but actually simultaneously we are taking action. So with that, I'm going to leave that here for you to take that in and really become one with it. And then, of course, when you're ready, to put yourself in positions, in the opportunities to exercise it and make it the strongest aspect of your being. Loving yourself enough to know, to accept your godliness. Okay, so here's the affirmation I'm going to leave you with today. I am the Mother, Father, God, fast at work, creating the foundation for this new earth, this new world, and these new opportunities for us to continue to rise and to be all that we are meant to be, all that I am meant to be. Okay, so much love to you. Please, if you like this video, like it below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please share it with your friends and family. Let them do a deeper dive as well so we can all rise. When one of us rises, we all rise. Keep circulating the information because we have a higher calling now. Okay, thanks so much. And leave your comments if you have anything to share. Thank you. Bye-bye.